September 26, 2022. Two underwater explosions rip through the Nord Stream pipelines, releasing massive methane leaks and triggering an energy crisis in Europe. This wasn't an accident, it was sabotage. But who did it? A Russian false flag? Ukrainian patriots? Or something even more unexpected? The answer lies with a rented German yacht named Andromeda and a team of highly trained divers.
The Nord Stream pipelines represented more than infrastructure. They were a strategic chokehold on Europe's energy supply. Running 1,200 kilometers along the Baltic Sea bed, these twin pipelines allowed Russia to export gas directly to Germany while bypassing traditional transit countries like Ukraine. This design gave Moscow disproportionate influence, letting them control energy flows to entire nations with the turn of a valve. By February 2022, with Russian tanks rolling into Ukraine, the pipelines transformed into political liabilities. European leaders urgently sought alternatives to Russian gas, but the physical connection remained, a tether that could be weaponized at any moment. The sheer depth of the pipelines, resting 80 meters below freezing waters, suggested formidable security, yet their isolation also made them vulnerable. Few vessels patrolled the area, and the concrete-coated steel tubes had no real-time monitoring against underwater interference. That spring, intelligence reports surfaced about suspicious activity. Dutch officials alerted Germany to Ukrainian operatives allegedly acquiring diving gear and chartering vessels under false identities. The CIA circulated similar warnings, noting reconnaissance patterns near pipeline coordinates, but security protocols weren't adjusted. The pipelines lacked the sensors or patrols needed to detect a targeted attack. On September 26th, seismic stations in Denmark registered two distinct explosions near Bornholm Island. Within hours, methane plumes erupted at the surface, creating swirling circles visible from space. The pressurized gas, enough to power 1.5 million homes for a year, vanished into the atmosphere. Energy markets immediately convulsed, with European natural gas prices spiking 12% overnight. Forensic analysis later confirmed the use of military-grade explosives. The blasts tore through multiple sections of both Nord Stream 1 and the newly completed Nord Stream 2, though one strand of NS2 remained intact due to a placement error. Investigators found silicone residue on pipeline fragments, a signature of timed adhesive charges. Whoever orchestrated this understood deep-sea demolition, geopolitics, and how to vanish without witnesses. Each player in the crisis had plausible motives. Russia could feign victimhood while destabilizing Europe's economy. Ukraine might target the pipelines to sever Russian revenue streams. Even third parties could benefit from sowing discord. But the sophistication of the operation narrowed the possibilities. This wasn't improvisation. It was a precision strike against the backbone of continental energy security.
The operation centered around a 15-meter yacht called the Andromeda, chartered through a Polish company with no discernible assets or employees. Its small size and civilian appearance made it ideal for avoiding suspicion while operating in the Baltic Sea. The 6 men on board presented themselves as recreational divers, with passports identifying them as citizens of various European nations. But their paperwork didn't match their skills. 4 were combat-trained divers with experience in underwater demolition, while the captain and engineer had technical expertise, suggesting military backgrounds. Their mission parameters were precise. The team needed to place explosive charges at specific weak points along the pipelines, located 80 meters beneath the surface, far deeper than recreational diving limits. They used closed-circuit rebreathers to avoid telltale bubbles and carried multiple oxygen tanks to manage decompression risks. Each dive lasted exactly 15 minutes to prevent nitrogen narcosis in the frigid waters. The timing was ruthless. Too fast risked detection, too slow could mean drowning. The explosives were military-grade HMX charges, more powerful than standard TNT, with silicone padding that helped them adhere to the curved pipeline surfaces. Digital timers were synced to detonate simultaneously on September 26, creating maximum disruption when gas flows were high. Investigators later found the charges were positioned with structural knowledge of pipeline engineering, targeting crucial junctions where repairs would take longest. Yet small mistakes surfaced. One charge on Nord Stream 2 apparently malfunctioned or was improperly placed, leaving that line partially operational. The divers also left forensic traces, a discarded water bottle with DNA later linked to Ukrainian nationals, a single rubber diving shoe found near the blast site, and microscopic HMX residue in the yacht's cabin. Marina cameras captured a white Citroën van dropping off diving equipment days earlier, registered to a Ukrainian businessman in Poland. The crew disappeared immediately after the operation. German investigators pieced together their route. The Andromeda sailed from Rostock to the pipeline coordinates, then returned to dock at a different marina before being abandoned. Payment trails led through shell companies, but phone data suggested calls to numbers associated with Ukrainian security services. Whether this indicated state coordination or merely personal contacts remained unclear. The line between official operation and Patriot initiative had blurred. The divers knew their tradecraft, but the unanswered question was whose orders they followed.
The investigation into the Nord Stream sabotage quickly became an international puzzle with competing narratives. Without an immediate claim of responsibility, intelligence agencies from multiple countries began pursuing separate lines of inquiry through forensic analysis and witness interviews. Seismic data confirmed the blasts originated from underwater explosions rather than accidental damage, ruling out technical failure as a possible cause. Russian officials publicly suggested Western involvement, pointing to US opposition to the pipeline project. However, security analysts noted Russia's own capacity for such operations, citing prior maritime sabotage experience, and the strategic advantage of destabilizing European energy markets. The timing also raised questions. Coming during military setbacks in Ukraine, the attack could have been designed to escalate tensions. Ukrainian involvement emerged as another strong possibility. Investigators traced the Andromeda's crew members to Ukrainian Special Forces veterans, with phone records showing prior contacts with military intelligence officials. The explosives matched Ukrainian stockpiles, and the operation bore similarities to other sabotage actions against Russian infrastructure. But Ukrainian officials consistently denied government involvement, suggesting rogue operatives may have acted independently. Forensic accountants followed money trails leading to a network of shell companies in Poland and Ukraine. Payments for the yacht and equipment flowed through accounts linked to individuals previously associated with security services, though no direct government connections were proven. German authorities identified the likely explosives transporter as a van registered to a Ukrainian-owned company in Poland, but couldn't establish who authorized its use. By mid-2023, investigators had reconstructed much of the operation's timeline, from the yacht's departure to the precise moment of detonation. They confirmed the team included experienced combat divers who trained for months prior to the mission. Yet critical gaps remained in understanding who financed and directed the operation. Some analysts believed the sophisticated execution pointed to state backing, while others noted Ukraine's history of independent patriot groups conducting complex sabotage. The attack's aftermath reshaped European energy policy almost immediately. Germany accelerated LNG terminal construction, while other nations rushed to secure alternative gas supplies. The incident underscored the vulnerability of critical undersea infrastructure, prompting NATO to establish new protection protocols. Despite multiple ongoing investigations in Germany, Sweden, and Denmark, conclusive evidence tying the attack to any government remained elusive. The sabotage achieved one clear result. It permanently altered Europe's energy landscape, while leaving behind an unsolved mystery of culpability.
The Nord Stream sabotage reshaped Europe's energy landscape in seconds. Today, the pipelines lie unusable at the bottom of the Baltic Sea, technically repairable but entangled in political disputes that make restoration unlikely. The attack exposed a harsh reality. In an era of hybrid warfare, critical infrastructure is both a lifeline and a target. European nations accelerated renewable energy projects and LNG imports, reducing reliance on vulnerable pipelines. Yet despite extensive investigations, conclusive proof of responsibility remains elusive. The perpetrators left just enough ambiguity to avoid retaliation while achieving their goal. Whether state-backed or freelance, the operation accomplished what explosions alone couldn't. It severed Europe's energy dependence without a trace.